Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys 1/6 scale Star Wars The Mandalorian figure unboxing and review. Or technically I should say figures, cause this kinda sorta is a 2-pack. It's Kuiil and the Blurrg. Now I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They do have installment plans and a reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon and join button so you're notified as soon as a brand new review goes live on the channel. I have spoken. As for the box art, typical Star Wars style with the black and grey edges, just this time huge. It's been supersized. In the middle, Kuiil riding the Blurrg, yes those are the figures. On the orange wraparound banner signifying Mandalorian, once again Kuiil and his Blurrg. Who would have guessed on the side of the box, another product shot, Kuiil riding the Blurrg. On the back, all of the warnings and legal info. On the inside, it's where we'll find the real artwork, and oh boy, it is stunning. It's of course Kuiil on his Blurrg and a not so subtle cross-sell Mando on his one. Now, I initially thought, I don't need a second Blurrg, just stick with the standard Kuiil. Then I saw that Kuiil with the Blurrg comes with some added accessories, and I'm a sucker for more stuff, so I went with the full package. Wait. What just changed? Why the snap transition? Well, quite simply, I had to remove the plastic covering Kuiil. It was taped down. Not super easy to remove on camera. As for Kuiil himself, he does come in a separate little piece of plastic, and I do emphasize little, because this guy is pretty teeny tiny. Not to say that he doesn't look good though, I can already tell you. Yeah, he does. As for the Blurrg though, Hot Toys, why are you all of a sudden taping down your clam trays? It makes the unboxing experience that little bit more cumbersome, because you're wrangling with the clam tray saying, open, goddammit, then you realize, oh, it's taped down. And to remove the tape, you have to lift up this entire clam tray, which isn't easy to do because this bad boy is very heavy. I am pleased to report though that even if you get the 2-pack with Kuiil and the Blurrg, you do get the standard display base as well, which I was super worried wasn't going to happen. What we are going to do now though is get all of the accessories that come with Kuiil laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with Kuiil's display base first. I was so worried, like I said in the unboxing segment, that we weren't going to get this, but lo and behold, it's here. And it's a good one. We don't have that sculpted sandy footprint flooring. It's a 2D print, but still looks like sand. Plus, it's textured. Around the front, it says Star Wars and Kuiil etched onto the nameplate. And up top, one of the cutest teeny tiny little waist clamp grabber arms I've ever seen. You can adjust this up and down, and there is a step into it. How will that work? Well, Kuiil will simply pop in and he'll stand in position. More part of his outfit, less an accessory I know, but it's his backpack. It attaches with Velcro, and is it just me, or has Hot Toys sculpting and paint applications for the final product been getting better and better? The mesh around the back genuinely looks like real mesh. And the backpack with the wrinkles and the folds and the texture and the shading and the buckles and these bits and pieces, I'm blown away. This being a sculpted piece of plastic on display, yeah, you probably wouldn't be able to tell. The same thing goes for these pouches. Now, I'm not a huge fan of these on him, but at the very least, they're unique sculpts from one side to the other. They didn't just sculpt one and flip it for the other side, they've gone all out, and 2 unique ones is the way they went. They aren't made of pleather, this is all sculpted. The wrinkling, very nice. Around the back, some clips to attach it to him, and the buckles, metallic, just like the backpack. I mean, this thing just hammers that point home even further. The texture looks like mottled, worn metal, and it's all kinds of rusty. You almost wouldn't want to touch it for fear of getting tetanus. Reused joke, I don't even care. The handle is real metal and it's flexible. Up top, you do have the slop or the gruel in there that the Blurrg would eat, and it looks wet and glossy. They've even gone so far as to put that speckling of rust work and the fully sculpted mottled texture on the underside. I'm fairly certain this is a unique sculpt for Kuiil's blaster, but I could totally be wrong. I've definitely been wrong before. The strap is made of pleather, you can see multiple holes, but no, it's not adjustable. The main blaster portion has some silver dry brushing, like worn metal. Then the handle has some wood grain print. It's not actual wood, it's all plastic. And before you ask, no, nothing here is movable, at least as far as I can tell. We also get some smaller accessories, a dart for tranquilizing the Blurrg, or maybe someone else. The middle section is translucent, and I like that pop of yellow. Down below, this could have definitely been fabric, but sculpting it is okay with me. This piece, I'm not sure what it's supposed to do, but you can move this forward and back. Please, if you do know, let me know down below. I like the washes in the crevices and how metallic it is. And lastly, 3 extra right hands and only 1 extra for the left side, so over there 2 in total. Now normally I'd be saying Hot Toys, what the hell, why didn't you just reverse the sculpt for the right side and use the same gestures for the left as well? But they couldn't, it's an asymmetrical design. That doesn't excuse them for not sculpting more for the left side, but I understand they wanted to keep it simple. I like the sculpt for both sides, the right one is slightly more padded and a little bit lighter. Now if you're wondering, hang on, doesn't the Blurrg come with something? We won't be here for long, don't worry, because we've seen this display base before with Mando and his Blurrg, it's the same thing. The sculpt is on point, the rock actually looks and feels like proper rock. We do have washes in the crevices and some lighter dry brushing to bring out all of that awesome texture. It's a little bit thinner towards the front and higher at the back, so the Blurrg sits slightly taller. We do also have some pegs, so when you pop the Blurrg on, it is very secure. Now it is sculpted all the way around, so technically if you wanted to, you could display it either way. Although if you displayed it the other way, you'd be seeing the Blurrg's rump. What we are going to do now though is get Kuiil himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. So far so good. This is one pretty dope looking Ugnaught. I have okay. I won't say it again, but I'm very tempted to. Kuiil, in my opinion, has never looked better in 1/6 scale. He has this very interesting outfit with multiple different colors, and also different textures. There are softer fabrics, there are screen-printed fabrics, there are pieces with wires in them, there's a lot going on. Then underneath that outfit is a brand new body. It is very well proportioned and looks super realistic for a teeny tiny guy. Then the icing on the cake, the head sculpt, 100% Kuiil, even from a distance. I'm pretty sure you can tell exactly who that is. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Kuiil's head sculpt. Now, I didn't know what to expect here. This is a very different style head sculpt to what Hot Toys are used to doing, but they knocked it out of the park. This is 100% Kuiil. I love the wrinkling, he looks old, but the expression also kinda plays into that. He's got this sad look about him, yet serious at the same time. The hair is very well sculpted, and the skin texture is stunning. There are multiple layers, there's some speckling on the surface, and even a 5 o'clock shadow. Now, his eyes are very recessed, but that's how they looked in the show. I was hoping they would be movable, but unfortunately they aren't. Hot Toys gets away with that though, cause something else is actually movable. His mouth you can open. This I'm pretty sure is the first time Hot Toys have done this. I could be wrong. Let me know if I am down below, I'm sure you will, but this is something else entirely. His teeth are fully painted, and he does have a top row as well. Now, you can't open it super wide, but just enough for Kuiil to say, I have spoken. Around the back for his aviator style hat, once again nicely painted, heaps of texture, it looks like leather. But this is all sculpted. Now, something that isn't sculpted, his goggles. You could potentially bring them down and have him wear them, but I'm kinda worried about scratching the paint applications. I'll do it just one time. I would suggest putting it on his eyes first, then bringing the strap down after. It does conform around his head sculpt, but it's not the best look, at least I don't think so. Around the back, we do of course have his backpack and the two side pouches as well. The side pouches slide onto the belt and lock in position, whereas the backpack is attached with Velcro. Now the Velcro does slide up under this flap of fabric, so it's nicely hidden. Now it is quite heavy and weighty, so when he's standing there it does drape naturally. And seeing as though it does conform to the shape of his body, it looks really good. Up top, we do also have the start of this scarf piece, and I do like this strip of fabric down the middle. Something else that looks natural is his outfit. It drapes beautifully. Even though this is a teeny tiny shrunk down little dude, the outfit hugs his body very well. You do have some wires along this scarf piece, and it's screen printed, so you can pretty much shape it however you want it to be. His shirt is green, you do have some pleather straps and some faux buttons. Now, interestingly enough, his gauntlets aren't pleather, they're fully sculpted. Thank you, Hot Toys, the less pleather, the better. His belt is also real fabric, and his belt buckle is nicely painted with some patina in the crevices, and there's a metallic finish, it's a little bit shiny. His vest piece is this suede-like fabric, and it's quite clean. I was expecting Kuiil to be slightly more dirty and grimy, but still, it doesn't look terrible. Doesn't look terrible? Come on, Justin, he's better than that, he's really good. Yeah, I know, he is. His pants are this very stretchy fabric, which is awesome for Blurrg riding. They should get out of your way, no problem. Also, there isn't any padding on the legs, but there is some on the upper torso, just to bulk him up a little. He does have an asymmetrical design with one pocket on one side and a completely different pocket on the other. For his boots, completely sculpted, they do look like leather, trust me, they aren't, they're all plastic. On the underside, some sculpted tread. Now his boots are nicely weathered, compared to, like I said, the rest of the outfit, it's a little bit cleaner. Jump scare, I'm so sorry, it's time for the Blurrg. Now we won't spend super long here because I've already reviewed this darn thing in the Mando video. I will pop the link to that video in the top right hand corner. Now the eye looks quite real, there's black for the pupil and brown around the edges, and overall it's quite glossy. We also have fully sculpted and filthied up teeth, there's dirt and grime around the edges, and the gums, they're quite nasty. Quite clearly Blurrg has some gingivitis. You need to brush your gums, friend. On the inside of the mouth, you do have a glossy, wet-looking tongue. I would have loved if the mouth can open, but unfortunately, it's fixed in position. We do have some lighter pink shading around the mouth and a bunch of speckling on the skin, but like I discussed the first time I reviewed the Blurrg, the skin texture and the paint applications, it's just okay. We do also have this piece that goes into its mouth with some proper metal rings, and some pleather straps that lead up above. Which, lo and behold, is exactly where we're going. What a segue. Now, the reins do have this really nice grain on the surface, and there is some shading in dirt and grime. Some lighter brown and some darker brown as well. We do have a loop up the top wrapped in bandages, and it is starting to tatter. Does that bother me? No, not really. It adds to the overall weathered look. Speaking of the weathered look, we do have a sculpted in tear on the saddle on one side, and on the other side, a completely different tear. It's an asymmetrical design. We also have multiple layers of paint here, some lighter green and some darker green. All the rest of this is also fully sculpted. Although this genuinely does look like a cinched piece of fabric, some pretty good sculpting. I don't want it to feel like I'm rushing this, I don't mean to, but I don't really have anything new to add to this thing. I said it all the first time. The tail is super long and it is fully sculpted, it's not flexible. I would have loved if there was a super thick wire in here so you could have turned this and sort of curved it around, but unfortunately you can't. It's straight. Which means in the collection, this is going to be a huge challenge to display, because you either have a lot of depth to accommodate this tail or a lot of width. And I know collectors, just like me, we struggle with space. There is a decent level of skin texture, it's nice and reptilian. We also have those dots that we mentioned earlier, and the paint applications are a little bit plasticky and shiny. And unfortunately, that's just a byproduct of the material choice, what they decide to make the Blurrg out of. She's made of this somewhat soft vinyl. Now, it's not super squishy like silicone, don't get me wrong, it's still relatively sturdy, but It just means the sculpted detail and the paint applications, they look a little bit plasticky and slightly softer. Now, on her belly, there is some lighter shading. You can make out all that reptilian sculpted flesh. From a distance, I guess the vinyl isn't the worst thing in the world, it looks okay. You can see the seam for the mouth, but it doesn't open. If you are doing a seam for the mouth Hot Toys, you may as well make it open, or even do swappable mouths, one open and one closed. You can also see the peg ports where she plugs into the display base. And before we move on, yes, there is limited articulation. You can move the legs forward and back just a little, quite literally, only a teeny amount, and the same thing can be said for the arms, although they do go a little bit further. She does have fully painted fingernails, and they are a little bit prickly. Please be careful. For an absolutely jam-packed comparison, here we have Blurrg, Durasteel Mando, Kuiil, IG-11, and teeny tiny Grogu. And the reason I decided to go this route, rather than individually, is because why the hell not? It looks pretty awesome. Plus, all of these characters and one creature did share screen time in Season 1. The Blurrg is quite clearly bigger than everyone, as she should be, and Kuiil is a lot shorter than everyone, except for Grogu. Now, I don't exactly know where I'm going to put the Blurrg, because it is so massive, but at the very least, Kuiil, he scales well. A little bit earlier, you may recall I said that I think Kuiil's body is all new. You may have been sitting there thinking, Justin, you moron, they stole it from the Jawa. Well, as you should know by now, you can't steal anything from Jawas, they steal from you. In all seriousness though, he's a lot taller than Jawa. Maybe they started with the base body from the Jawa and went from there, upscaling the arms and legs, but I doubt it. I think Kuiil's body is new. Going over articulation, do bear in mind this is my personal copy, so I'm going to be a touch more careful. Starting off with the head sculpt, it's on a fixed neck with a ball peg down below. Looking forward and back, swivel and pivot side to side. The arms will go up to there on ratchets, going forward and back, butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow going past 90, then a teeny tiny hinge and swivel for the wrist peg. The torso crunches forward and back, hindered by some padding, swivel and pivot. The legs will go forward to there, going out to there, decent for Blurrg riding poses, swivel at the upper thigh, double bend at the knee going past 90. Then, even though this is a fixed boot, the cavity up top is big enough for the double ball peg to give you some pivot, forward and back, and swivel. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing is how you attach the backpack. Now, it's pretty seamless when it's on, but getting it on there is a challenge, and keeping it on there while posing him is even more of a challenge, because these pieces of Velcro are tiny, and this is relatively heavy, so when you wedge it in there, it does fall off from time to time. I think magnets might have been the better option. The second annoying thing, and I do want to stress, this doesn't bother me at all, but there's always give and take. When they add something like the articulated mouth, they unfortunately have a seam under his chin. So when he's up on the Blurrg and you're looking at him from below, you may potentially see that. The third annoying thing is there's no padding around the edges for the goggles. So when you slide it onto his forehead, you do run the risk of damaging the paint apps. Now I understand why they didn't do it, because they wanted to keep them nice and translucent, but still, some padding around the edges wouldn't have impacted that too much. The first cool thing, I don't care about the seam, it's the opening mouth, it makes me so happy. We can have him saying, "I have spoken," exposing his little teeth, and everything is really well painted. The second cool thing is Hot Toys, you old softies. I was really expecting them to keep this base exclusive to the standard Kuiil, so you were forced to buy both of them, but luckily we don't have to. Even if you get the Kuiil and the Blurrg, it's the ultimate package. You get everything, including the standard base. You'll notice I did leave the Blurrg out of this pros and cons segment because I already did pros and cons for the Blurrg in the Mando video. The third cool thing is the brand new body for Kuiil. It's very proportionate, spot on to the show, and the joints are super stiff and sturdy because, like I said, this body is all new, fresh from the mold for the first time ever. Wrapping up on Kuiil and the Blurrg from Mandalorian Season 1. Going into this, so excited, how could I not be? Kuiil is such an iconic character. I mean, I have spoken, you say those words and people know exactly who you're referring to. So in 1/6 scale, is he any good? Yeah, he's really good. An all-new body, a very well-tailored outfit, a decent array of accessories, and on top of all of that, an incredible head sculpt. It looks just like Kuiil, and the opening mouth gimmick? Hot Toys, you've been holding out on us. I love that gimmick. Hopefully if they make Gamorrean guards from Book of Boba Fett or other Star Wars creatures, they can have opening mouth as well. Jar Jar Binks? Anyone? No, just me. Okay. Then the Blurrg is just okay. It's very big, so it brings the presence, but it's not really a shelf stealer in my opinion. When you combine it with Kuiil, yes, it gets a little bit better, and then when you have two of them with Mando and Kuiil, another step up once again. But if you're just picking up the Blurrg on its own, you may be a little bit disappointed. The paint applications are pretty simple. So at the end of this, do I recommend Kuiil and the Blurrg or just Kuiil? Well, that depends on you. I know, such a cop-out answer. If you have space for the Blurrg, go for it. If you love Star Wars also, yep, it's right up your alley. But if you don't have space and you just want a main character, Kuiil the Solo Pack is the one for you. Now, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They do have installment plans and a reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.